Happy Valentine's Day. It's the Boomer Music Experience with Dave Scott and Randy Halmo, live from our own home studios again. We're having so much fun. We decided to come back again and do another Valentine's Day edition in our home studios. Randy, like always, you outdo it. You put me to shame every time. Look at you. You're looking dapper. You got the red. You're ready to go. All I got is my Team Canada red hat here because the Olympics are starting in Beijing for the Winter Games.
Hey,
so I want to be ready for that. And look at folks. You got to look at what he does. He makes it a production. I love it. He's the best. So I haven't even given you a chance to talk. It's great to see you, Randy. I know we're going to hit the Valentine's Day hard. Let's get after it.
Okay, Dave. For our audience, we're going to review the top 20 love songs of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And as we go along, I'm going to interject a little bit of tidbit, just highlights on some of the songs. And then I'm going to very quickly, because we're kind of limited for time, very quickly, I will give a few other songs which I think should be in the top 20 for the decade of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Okay, let's do it. First of all, we start out number 20, The Supremes, You Can't Hurry Love.
Oh,
number 19, Ike and Tina Turner, River Deep, Mountain High. Nat King Cole checks in at number 18 with Love, and that's spelled Love on the 45.
Okay.
Number 17, The Monkees, I'm a Believer. Number 16, which I can't believe. This should be a lot higher, but hey, I wasn't on the judging panel to judge these. Number 16, Elvis Presley checks in at Can't Help Falling in Love with You.
I got to go with you on that one. Should be a heck of a lot higher.
Oh, yeah. Full agreement, Dave. Sam Cooke, number 15, Cupid. Of course, this was Sam Cooke's signature song. It was released in May of 1961. Number 14, Peter and Gordon, A World Without Love. And of course, Paul McCartney, he wrote this song when he was just 16 years old. He gave it to Peter Asher, of course, Peter Asher. And at the time, Paul McCartney was dating Peter's sister, Jane. How good is that? 16 years young. And that was a big hit for Peter and Gordon.
What was that one?
Number 13. That was...
I missed it. Sorry.
That's okay. That was A World Without Love. That hit the charts. It was number 1, May of 1964. Number 13, Aretha Franklin, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. And of course, this definitely, Dave, I think this is right up there with her Respect record as her signature song. Wouldn't you agree?
I do. Was that written by Carole King?
Yes, it was. It was written by Carole King and Jerry Goffin. Right on. Yeah. Carole King wrote a lot of songs for different artists. And, of course, in our last broadcast, we mentioned her quite a bit. The Temptations, My Girl, their signature song, checks in at number 12. And, of course, that was during the Motown sound. Of course, Berry Gordy, Mr. Motown.
Yep.
Number 11, Ray Charles, You Don't Know Me.
Oh, wow.
Number 10, Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell, Ain't No Mountain High Enough. And here again, that was in the Motown decade, mid-60s to 65, 67, 68. Really the Motown sound, and that was heavy during the mid-60s. Okay, moving right along, we go to number 9. Just have to get this paper separated. There we go. Number 9, Glenn Campbell with Wichita Lineman. And this was written by Jimmy Webb, of course. He did a lot of Glenn's writing. And Glenn Campbell's version of Wichita Lineman, a lot of artists have sung this, but Glenn Campbell, he owns it. This is definitely his signature song. Number 8, Percy Sledge, When a Man Loves a Woman. And this, of course, is... I thought so too, Dave. I thought it would have been in the top 3 at least.
Me too.
When a man
with Sam Cooke.
Yeah. It definitely is Percy Sledge's most recognizable song, and here again, his signature song. Number 7.
I do believe that one got an R&B Grammy as well. Like that was a big hit. I think that was probably obviously his biggest, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that one got a Grammy.
Absolutely. It did, Dave. Right on. Yeah. The Four Tops check in at number 7. Reach Out and I'll Be There. Here again in the Motown sound. Ben E. King, number 6, Stand By Me.
I forgot about Stand By Me.
Oh, yeah. And you know, Dave, this has been recorded over 400 times by different artists, Stand By Me. And here's a little tidbit we want to share with the audience. They may not know this. This song was performed at Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding in 2018.
Did not know that.
How good is that? And Mariah Carey performed that song. Number 5, Etta James, At Last. And of course, Etta James, definitely her signature song. And this song was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1999. Also, just want to share this little tidbit of information again for our audience, Dave. Barack and Michelle Obama, they danced to this romantic tune after he was first inaugurated as President of the United States of America in 2009. How good is that?
That's perfect. That's perfect.
Number 4, the Righteous Brothers, the Unchained Melody. And of course, this came out May of 1984, but it had a rebirth in, I believe it was 1991, in the movie Ghosts. And of course, with the pottery making scene in Ghost, well, they can thank Patrick Swayze for that one. But it was reintroduced, and it did quadruple platinum in 1991. The Unchained Melody, the Righteous Brothers. The Beatles, number 3, Something, written by George Harrison. Checks in at number 3. Now, George, he wrote this ballad about his then wife, Pattie Boyd, and she was a knockout, Pattie Boyd. But this later was the inspiration for Eric Clapton's song called Wonderful Tonight.
Oh, Wonderful Tonight, yes, you're right.
Yeah. And this, of course, and the song Something, it was also featured, of course, on the iconic album Abbey Road by the Beatles. And it became one of the Beatles' greatest ever love songs. Yes. A lot of people think Paul McCartney's Yesterday. Well, yeah, that's pretty close too. But number 2, Andy Williams, the crooner. Can't Take My Eyes Off of You. Now, Frankie Valli, the Four Seasons, he recorded this first. But Andy Williams, the crooner, his version was much more popular. And it did triple platinum 10 weeks after it was released. And that's 1963. And number 1, top of the list, the Beach Boys and God Only Knows. And that is self-explanatory. Yeah, that surprised me. Like,
me too. That's kind of, you did mention a name in there that I want us to do. And while you were going through it, I made a couple notes that we should definitely do a show on. And I've been listening to this guy a lot lately. I know that you're a big fan. I'm a big fan. We've never did a show on Mr. Sam Cooke. I think we need to do one. What do you think down the road?
Definitely.
Ton of hits between 51 and 64. And I think I'm totally blown away by his music, and I think that would be something fun we could get into, okay? So I'm interrupting again, so I'm trying to take over your show. Sorry, buddy. Let's move on to the 70s.
We interact equally between each other. That's why these Zoomer music experience shows are so great with our music knowledge between the two of us. It's just really phenomenal. And
I'm just the student, you're the master.
Oh, no. And to our audience listening, hope you're enjoying the Valentine version of the Zoomer Experience music and it's called Down Memory Lane. Okay, let's take a look at the top 20 greatest love songs of the 1970s, and here we go. Number 20, Billy Paul, Me and Mrs. Jones. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's a little risky.
Yeah.
Well, the Commodores check in at number 19, Three Times a Lady. Of course, this was written by lead vocal Lionel Richie, and it became their biggest hit in 1978. And Lionel, he said he was inspired to write this song because of a comment that his father made about his mother. His father said to his mother, I love you, I want you, I need you forever. Hence, Three Times a Lady. How good is that? Number
That's
18,
so cool.
Fleetwood Mac, Songbird. Number 17, oh yes, the smooth velvet voice of the late, great Karen Carpenter. We've only just begun. And today, Dave, this song is still a very, very popular wedding song. The lyrics, the way Karen sings it, like it's got everything. It's got wedding written all over it. Number 16, The Hollies, The Air That I Breathe.
On Karen Carpenter, Randy, I was impressed. Yeah. I have listened to her a little bit lately, and I'm impressed with her range. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I don't think enough people understood how talented she really was. Yeah,
she was.
I was just blown away by the range that she could perform, and I think that's something that we kind of forgot about or missed. And again, there's another band that we're going to have to visit. Karen Carpenter. We're going to have to visit the band, the Carpenters, at some point soon too. Just an amazing talent, gone way too soon too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Number 15 from the 70s, top 20 love songs, Chicago. If You Leave Me Now. Really? I don't. Oh, well.
Take away the
John Denver, number 14.
I guess that's
Annie's,
the way it goes.
Yeah, Annie's song. That's a beautiful song by the late John Denver. Beautifully written and sung. And this, incidentally, was John Denver's only hit in the UK. But it did very well, of course, here in Canada and the United States. Barry White checks in at number 12.
Barry White.
You're the first, the last, my everything. He's really, really, yes. This was released in 1974, did triple platinum 12 weeks after it was released. Yeah. Billy Joel, Just the Way You Are, number 11. Billy Joel, what a great voice there. David Gates and Bread, number 10, Make It With You. And this, of course, was Bread's breakthrough hit, of course, written by singer David Gates. And David also performed on the acoustical guitar, the electric guitar, the bass, and strings on the record, with only drummer Mike Botts being featured. So, wow, that is incredible to play all those instruments. But that got Bread underway, and one of the great bands of the U.S. Number 9, Roberta Flack, The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face. Roberta Flack. And this, I do believe, Dave, is very close to one of her signature songs. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Again, Roberta Flack was underrated as well. Amazing.
Absolutely. Yep. Number 8, The Bee Gees, How Deep Is Your Love? This great ballad was written by mega, the Gibb Brothers. It was written for the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. And, well, what can you say? How Deep Is Your Love did double platinum 10 days after it was released on the RSO record. Number 7, Eric Clapton, Wonderful Tonight. And what a great song. And Eric Clapton, he wrote this song for his then girlfriend, Patty Boyd. Of course, Patty divorced George Harrison in the same year. So Patty hooks up with Eric Clapton. And the rest, is history.
Did you know,
Harry?
I read in, I think it was the book on Clapton that I had read the story when they got married. George Harrison was at the wedding, Ringo Starr, Paul McCartney, and Lennon was invited, but his invitation got lost in the mail. It would have been the first time. No, it would have been the first time the four Beatles had been together. And as that night progressed, the three Beatles and Clapton all performed on stage together. Imagine if Lennon was there. History would have changed.
My God. Oh, sure would have.
It's a great story from a book. I can't confirm, I can't deny, but that's what I read. And I thought, wow, that invitation. Oh, my goodness, if Lennon was there.
Unbelievable.
I mean, there would have been basement tapes, on that one, Randy? There would have been some stuff. That would have been flying around.
That's for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
That's how crazy is that to have two love songs written about you that are amazingly, intertwined in the rock and roll history. That's pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, that's better than good.
Yep.
Number 6 checks in with Harry Nilsson and Without You. Good song by Harry Nilsson, January of 1972. Wow, 50 years ago this month. Remember when that came out? I was in Toronto working at the Toronto International Airport as a federal agent. Federal agent, MPYD, LAPD, whatever. Al Green, number 5, Let's Stay Together. And this was taken from his 1972 album. Did very well. Number 4, Bill Withers, Ain't No Sunshine. Another great song. Yeah. Bill Withers, yeah. He gave us a lot of great music. Yeah. And number 3, 10cc. Oh. Sounds like a cartridge shell, 10cc.
Yeah, it does.
10cc, I'm Not in Love. The summer of 1976. Yeah, Elvis Presley checks in at number 2, Always on My Mind. Okay.
Interesting.
Good song. Very good song. But Willie Nelson's version of Always on My Mind has topped, of course, the record sales that Elvis did. But hey, Elvis did an excellent rendition of that song. And number 1 of the 1970s, the 20 greatest love songs, belongs to, drumroll, Elton John, Your Song. And of course, this was taken from Elton's second self-titled album. It was a ballad that was actually recorded by Three Dog Night. And
I didn't know that.
He allowed them to re-record it. How good is that? Wow.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yep.
So there's one name in there from the 70s too that I think I want to bring to your attention that maybe we did a show on, but we should revisit it. And I recently read a book on him and I was blown away. Was Willie Nelson. Crazy.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Crazy.
Willie Nelson. Yeah.
Just the song Crazy alone is enough for us to do a whole show on. But
sure is.
Yeah. It's some
That's
wonderful
fantastic.
Talents there, eh? What a great cross section that list is you have. So what do you got next? Are we going to go the 80s? Is that what you're saying?
Okay. Well, just before we get to the 80s, there, Dave, I just want to incorporate a few other 70s songs that I think would certainly be worthy of the top 20 greatest love songs in the decade of the 70s. James Taylor, How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You, 1975.
Great one.
Wow.
Yeah,
another one.
On there.
No, Feelings by Morris Albert, 1975. That's, in fact, to this day, I get lots of requests for that song to be played, be it a wedding, be it a 50s, 60s dance, whatever. The Bellamy Brothers, Let Your Love Flow, 1976.
Yeah, that's a great song, too.
This next song, I think you either love it or hate it. I think it's great because it comes from a very talented young girl, and her dad was Pat Boone. Debbie Boone, You Light Up My Life, 1977. Yeah. And why that was left out, I'll never know.
Can I tell you a story about that song?
Yeah.
My dad, at the time, that song was released, was in the hospital. He'd been in the hospital for a few months. He had back surgery. And I remember it was playing in a room beside him. A person was in a coma. and they kept playing that song over and over again. And he said when he left the hospital, that song was still playing. But he made me promise never to play that song again because he had heard it, and he was hoping this person would, their life would be saved, and they would come out of this coma because they loved this song. But he said they just played it 24 around the clock for this person, but he said I couldn't take it anymore, this song. So it does have that, like you said, you either love it or you hate it, right?
That's right.
I'm going to add one more to your list for the 70s that I kind of like.
70s. Sure.
Orleans, Still the One. I don't know why. I just like that song. The lyrics are really good. And I'm not trying to give anything away, but that might be in my top 5. But that's one from the 70s that I really enjoyed as well.
Oh, yeah. Very good. Good choice there too, Dave. Joe Cocker, You Are So Beautiful. 1975.
Another guy we need to do a story on. Another guy we need to do a broadcast on.
Joe Cocker. Amazing, and of course, he's given us a lot of great songs. Yeah. The Eagles, Best of My Love, 75. Thought that might have been in there.
Yeah.
For the Good Times.
Was McCartney's Silly Love Songs in there?
No, it wasn't. And that should have been in there too, the 70s. Gee, Dave, I think next year, we should apply.
We better do our own.
Go on board and send our applications in to become judges for Smooth Radio. Maybe
next year will be the H&S Top 20, the Halmo Scott Top 20. I mean, we should be able to put something together that can rival these guys.
Oh yeah,
all right.
For sure.
We're not professionals, folks. We just play one on the air.
You got it.
Now
we head to the 20 greatest love songs of the 1980s. Ooh. And we start out number 20. I never heard of this one. Fat Larry's Band with the song called Zoom.
Now we're going to have to look that one up.
Fat Larry's Band? Never heard of it.
No.
Anyway.
Where'd you get this list, by the way, young man?
Wow. This comes in from Smooth Radio. Smooth Radio, they're a division of iHeartRadio, which is very good.
Any of our viewers know about this song, maybe send me and Randy a little email and give us an update on it. Editor at NorfolkHub at gmail.com. Well, fill us in, give us some info on this.
Yeah. All I've got, the only information I have on this, Dave, aside from the title and the person singing it, it's kind of a back to school. It's a slow disco dance. Wow. Oh, okay. Disco. That kind of narrows it down to the disco era, but I have never heard of that song. Of all the disco songs, I've never heard of it. However, let's move along. Madonna, Crazy for You, checks in at number 19. At this time, she was still relatively unknown, but it became one of her biggest ballads ever. Number 18, Stevie Wonder, I Just Called to Say I Love You, from 1984. Classic love song. Number 17, REO Speedway, Keep On Loving You. Number 16, You're the Best Thing, The Style Council. I haven't heard too much of them. Jennifer Rush checks in at number 15, The Power of Love.
Yeah.
Now, this was released in 1985, and it was the first ever million seller by a female soloist in Britain. Now, as we all know too, this record was held by Jennifer Rush until Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You came in and went even further and held the record for the largest single ever, Whitney Houston. Yep. And that was I think that was 89, I believe. And our own Canadian gal, Celine Dion, she had a hit record with this too in the 1980s, late 80s, The Power of Love. So Celine Dion, hey. Number 13, Lucky 13. Cyndi Lauper, Time After Time. Yeah. And for our audience, Dave, this was one of Cindy's very first singles that she recorded. And boy, it was a doozer, too. Did double platinum for her. Good girl. It was written by Rob Hyman. He's of the band The Hooters. And it became known as one of the best love songs of the 1980s. Cyndi Lauper. Sorry, go ahead, Dave. What were you going to say?
We're going to have to do a show on Cyndi Lauper, too. True Colors is an amazing song. But I think another talent that kind of gets overshadowed, but she really paid her dues, and an unbelievable voice. I saw an interview recently with her on Howard Stern. It was an old interview, but just loved listening to her. And, she's such a character. Sorry,
sweet girl. Sweet girl. And got to meet her twice.
Did you
just
really?
Coming through the airport. Yes, Cyndi Lauper.
What was she like?
At Toronto International. Very bubbly, but down to earth, but just a walking bubble of enthusiasm.
And she's exactly as she appears.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. She's just really bubbly, personality plus, great gal. And
that's cool.
She's easy on the eyes too. Okay. Bangles, Eternal. Charlene didn't hear that. Bangles, Eternal Flame. Oh, Lordy. Bangles, good song there.
You better have your Valentine's Day gift now, buddy. You better get her. You better go high now.
I think I'll be. Yeah, or I may be in the doghouse and the cat house.
So the Bangles?
No. Yeah. Oh, Lordy. So, the Bangles, Eternal Flame.
Yeah.
This song, a good song. Lionel Richie and Diana Ross have The Endless Love, and that was a lovely song. My brother Mark and his loving wife Cheryl, that was their first dance at their wedding, October 3rd, 1981.
Nice.
Hey, I remembered it. Yes.
You got her down.
It's quite possibly, and I think, Dave, for this particular song, and I'm sure our audience will agree, it's probably one of the greatest duets of all time.
Yeah.
And certainly one of the most successful. No question about it.
Yeah.
And of course, it's the Motown people. Soft Cell, Say Hello, Wave Goodbye. Number 10. Number 9, True by Spandau Ballet. Good song. Very, very good song here. Whitney Houston, number 8, Saving All My Love for You. Great song by the late, great Whitney Houston. The song was originally a minor hit for Marilyn McCoo. Marilyn McCoo, The Fifth Dimension, and Billy Davis in 1978. But Whitney, she turned this into a mega huge hit in 1985. Just nailed it. Number 7, we're back with Lionel Richie, solo this time, with Hello. Now, this is a totally different song that Lionel sings and writes than Adele's Hello of 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely Lionel's biggest hit ever is his biggest hit. Bryan Adams, Heaven, checks in at number 6. And Bryan Adams, this first appeared on the soundtrack of the romantic movie A Night in Heaven. And of course, Bryan Adams is included on his Reckless LP a year later. That was the name of his album, Reckless LP. And the song, this is interesting, the song was inspired by Journey's Faithful after Adams had toured with the band. How good is that?
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's pretty neat. That's a nice little tidbit there.
Hey, Bryan Adams. Hey. Number 5, U2, With or Without You. It became one of U2's biggest songs ever, not only in the UK, but also in North America. That's the United States and Canada. Number 4, Phil Collins, Against All Odds.
Mm-hmm.
Well, from the movie the same name, what can I say? Number 3, Foreigner, I Want to Know What Love Is. And this is by far Foreigner's biggest hit ever.
I don't know. Jukebox Hero is pretty big. Jukebox Hero is pretty big, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
I might argue with you on that one.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, good.
Another
good
band.
Call on that one, Dave.
Another band we got to do. Yeah, we're getting lots of.
Yep.
We're building a supply list here for this year for 2022.
Right on. Yep. So we have number 2 checks in at Careless Whisper, George Michael, and number 1.
Wait, so I missed number 2. What was that?
Oh, number 2. Sorry, Careless Whisper.
Oh, and George Michael.
This was a song that made people stand up and take notice of George as an artist, outside of his pop band called Wham. Mm-hmm. But this really was his introduction into his solo career. And what a song.
Yeah.
Number 1 from the 1980s, the top 20 love songs of all time. Okay. Abba, The Winner Takes It All. Okay.
Hey, didn't we just talk about Abba recently? I think we did.
Yeah.
The Winner Takes It All. I know.
The Winner Takes It All.
You were a little hesitant there. Would you have put that as number 1, Randy?
No. I think it's a good song. But I think with love songs, I think ABBA, for example, Fernando.
Yeah.
Great song by ABBA. I do. Anyway.
I think you know what? Next Valentine's Day, that's it. Me and you are putting together our own. We're going to put our own together. Okay, buddy?
Hey, I think sounds like a plan.
We're Norfolk orientated. We'll get that feel, that vibe. There'll be a little country in there somewhere, I'm sure too. But
Yep.
That's cool.
Sounds good.
That's great work. You always do your homework. You're always ready.
Well, I try and do my very best, Dave, because the audience, I think it's good for them to know the extra side tidbits of what goes into a song or some history that's related to that particular song, because they can identify in their period of lifetime what was going on in their life when they heard that particular song.
Yep, exactly.
And of course, with Valentine's just close by, I'm sure that many of these songs that we have mentioned, a lot of our audience, the couples that can identify with that song, maybe being a song that they heard during a nice Valentine's dinner. Maybe it was their first wedding song as they danced their first dance as husband and wife. A lot of good case, good life scenarios on music.
I totally agree with you, Randy, and it's a reflection of who you are, because when we provide information and feedback on these little tidbits that we gather about songs or books that I've read or you've read about musicians, it adds to the flavor of the story that these folks have with the songs that are important to them. And if we can provide that, it's fun. And, it creates a great feeling of nostalgia on a positive environment, which we need these days. So, like you said, some of those songs that you're just ringing them up, I'm like, man, I got to listen to that again. Oh, I haven't heard that in a long time, right? You get into that mindset. So that's what's fun. Right. So what's on your top 5 list? What do you got? What do you
Okay, well, let's start, Dave. We'll kind of kibitz back and forth here.
Sure.
Let's go to the decade of the 60s, the 1960s. My top 5 love songs are number 5, Somewhere My Love, the Ray Conniff Singers. And that was the theme song for the movie Dr. Zhivago in 1966. Number 4, Roses Are Red, Bobby Vinton from October of 1962. Number 3, an old Buddy Holly hit, revamped and a platinum seller for Peter and Gordon, True Love Ways in 1965. Number 2, the Righteous Brothers, the Unchained Melody from May of 1964. And number 1, you guessed it, Elvis, Can't Help Falling in Love with You. Dave, your top 5 for the 60s.
Man. See, I did, and you're gonna laugh at me because I screwed up. I took my top 5 from 60s, 70s, and 80s. So I just picked out which 5 songs I liked. But the nice part was when I started looking at all the music too, I had a hard time narrowing it down, because then I'm like, oh, jeepers, I only get to pick 5. See, folks, I need to listen better to Randy's instructions so I do it properly next time. But for me, Sam Cooke, we talked earlier about this, Cupid.
Yes.
For the 60s. I honestly, that was one of the songs that just kind of it hit me hard, and I really, really enjoyed it. The other one in the 60s was, and you brought this up and we talked about it, Percy Sledge, When a Man Loves a Woman.
Yes.
That song, it just, every time I hear that song, I want to listen to it again. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to put it back on and listen to it again, because I think there's so much in that song. And the lyrics are so good in it. And,
so true. So true.
It's just one of those songs that it always gets me. It always hits home with me. So I've got two from the 60s, but we're going to skip ahead to the 70s. You give me your 5 for the 70s.
Okay. Top 5 for the 70s. Checking in at number 5, the song everybody either loves or hates, You Light Up My Life by Debbie Boone. Number 4, Feelings, Morris Albert. Number 3. Yeah, from 1975. Great song. I still get lots of requests for that song at the dances that I'm DJing. Number 3, For the Good Times, Ray Price. Number 2, The Bee Gees. During the disco era, How Deep Is Your Love? Great song. Number 1, We've Only Just Begun, The Carpenters.
We've only
Dave,
just begun.
I send it back to you.
Man, I'm going to, all right, well, for the 70s, I'm going to go early 70s, and I don't know if we'll classify this as a love song, but I think every high school dance, it was the last song, Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, yeah. Right on. That's Zeppelin.
You gotta love Zeppelin, right? So that always worked very well. I always enjoyed that aspect of that song, because you knew you had to get out on the dance floor. It was the last song of the night. Silly love songs, Paul McCartney. I think that
Paul McCartney.
It's just that catchy beat. I kind of enjoy the lyrics. I know it's very, Lennon thought it was a kind of a joke, and that's why McCartney did it. But I mean, I kind of like the song, I kind of liked it.
Right on.
The other one I had from the 70s was Orleans, Still the One. And I think that song for me.
Good song.
It's just great beat. You know what I mean, Randy? You can really, when you're listening, you sing along to it and you enjoy it. Right? And
absolutely.
It's always stuck with me. So that's kind of my 3 in the 70s that I was kind of aiming at. And what do you got for the 1980s?
Okay, the 1980s.
And you can't pick all Madonna songs, okay?
Yeah. Here again, a lot of these songs are not on the top 20 love songs of all time for the 80s that Smooth Radio picked, iHeartRadio. Yeah. But here we go.
All right.
And some of these, some people may not know, but here, let's do it. Here we go.
All right.
Number 5 checks in at Key Largo, Bernie Higgins.
Oh, great song.
Bogey and Bacall. Yeah, Bogey and Bacall. Lauren Bacall. And there's a girl. Oh, my God.
Lauren Bacall. Yeah.
There's a nice girl. Got to meet her a couple of times at the airport. Lauren Bacall.
What was, can you talk a little bit about the opportunity you had to meet her? Was it?
Yeah, she's a very, very down-to-earth person. She's very opinionated, but also she's an exceptional dresser. She knows how to dress
and there's one thing Mr. Halmo appreciates. It's a good dresser, isn't it?
Okay, Dinah. Yeah, Lauren Bacall.
Here's a quick question for you. Because of all the people that you met at the airport, these people were all flying in usually, and they've just come out long flights from LA or someplace like that.
Yeah.
And
you got it.
Yep. They still got to have their A game, don't they? When they get off the plane, they can't be moody. They got to be nice. That's
right.
They're dealing with Randy Halmo now, right? So they got to be good.
From LAX, that's folks. That's a short form. If our audience doesn't know LAX, that's the short form for Los Angeles International Airport. And Air Canada had 2 flights in there a day. Air Canada flight 492. From Los Angeles International to Toronto. Wow. I could write a book about that.
Cool. You could.
Anyway.
We're going to have to do a show just on the musicians you met. Because I know some of the ones you talked to me about. It'd be pretty fun.
Incredible.
Maybe
Number 4 for 1980 checks in with Dan Fogelberg and Longer. And I'd like to actually dedicate this song because Bill and Diane Canawan, this was their first song, his first dance as husband and wife. It's Longer Dan Fogelberg. What a great, great song. And we lost Dan a couple of years back, but really good. Number 3, Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You. And Whitney gave us just a wealth of great songs. Number 2, Mark and Cheryl's first dance as husband and wife, Endless Love, Lionel Richie and Diana Ross. And number 1, yeah, you got it. Hey, Stevie, are you coming up from Kitchener, from Grand River Hospital? Stevie, you going to see me? Because Stevie Wonder's here with me right now, and his $1 million song, I just called to say I love you, number 1.
Number 1, Stevie.
That's the top 5 of the 80s. Dave, we'll send it over to you.
I'm going to finish this show up, but first questions first. On all those love songs that you talked about, what's the number one request you get when you're DJing for a love song? Do you know? For
love songs in, like, say, the 60s, 70s, and 80s?
No, you're doing just what's the overall dances you do? Is there one that kind of pops out all the time?
Oh, yeah. Hands down, unbeatable. Elvis, Can't Help Falling in Love with You.
There you go, folks.
Without a doubt, without a question.
Yeah, the king strikes again. That's awesome. I'm going off the board for my we're almost out of time, but I'm just going to go quickly with the one that for me is the number 1 love song, because it was the song at my wedding, and it's Blue Rodeo's Lost Together. Love that song. Love the lyrics.
Great song. Great song.
Someday when we do a Blue Rodeo show, I'll tell you about the stories behind the lyrics, because there's a couple different ones that stand out there. But I can never get tired of that song, and I always enjoy it.
No.
And that's it.
I'm surprised that wasn't on the top 20.
Well, it was a 92 song.
Thank you very much, Dave.
Why. Yeah, it was a 1992 song.
92.
So I went off the board on you a bit on that one. But a load of fun with this Valentine's show, Randy. I got to say thank you again. Hope
thank you, Dave.
This is a beautiful gift this year again, like you always do.
Really enjoyed the show.
Like you're set up in the background.
Yeah, it's and those are crystal goblets, Waterford Crystal, from Waterford, Ontario.
That's right.
Oh, Lordy. Jeepers. Thanks again, Dave.
Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, you take care,
and Monica.
We'll talk soon.
Thanks very much. God bless, and please stay well. Thank you.
You bet.